Well, hello guys, welcome back. Like every other good intention video I ever made, watch this one bite me in the butt. Anyhow, I wanted to talk to you today about death, and I seem to be in a rather good mood considering the subject, but I want to talk about how much the modern pagan heathen way of dealing with death is absolutely appalling and sucks. So, I got, yes, Becker. We really suck at dealing with death today. I can tell you because I took the class, and nowhere in Death and Dying does it tell you to throw out the things we tell people, like, I'm so sorry for your loss. Will you excuse me? I have Zumba in half an hour. We're really terrible and tone deaf about the grieving process for other people. Not only that, um, we tell people stuff that when you're the one grieving, you do not want to hear, but once you have been the griever and someone else is the grievee, you're like, oh, and I apologize to the person that said this today. Life is for the living. No, really. Um, you don't say. You're not really sad, though. And I can say from far too many experiences for the person who's died. We're crying for ourselves. So if you're crying for Elizabeth or you're crying for your own loss, so we're crying for ourselves. We're really mourning for ourselves. We're mourning for all the potentials we lost. Maybe we left things on an argument. We'll never get that chance back. Maybe you had a crappy childhood and you never got to resolve stuff with your parents and all that, cycle stuff about writing a letter to them, telling them how you really feel, and only goes so far. And outside of a Ouija board or a seance, we're not going to bring these people back to yell at them. There was a comedian that said, what are we going to do? Dig them up and yell at them? And, honestly, not a bad idea. I would think it would heal the inner child for a lot of people. And I think that's it. We don't realize death is going to come for us all because, especially as Americans, we like to pretend it doesn't exist. As soon as somebody has lost somebody, how many of us, myself included, you get them a card and then you just don't know what to do, right? You kind of offer to help them, but you're hoping to the gods that they don't ask you to because that would involve effort on your part, and I am including myself in that. And people are going to take issue with that, but be honest, how many times has somebody lost someone and you offered and then you were like, oh, please don't let them ask? We don't know how to support each other anymore, and we don't know how to take support because we know as a people, at least for us Americans, when someone offers something, they don't mean it. A lot of people don't. A lot of people don't. There might be some confused people out there that actually mean it when they offer something. Americans generally don't. We offer you something and we hope you're never gonna ask. And that's it. So when we offer condolences, and that sometimes it's normal for the bereaved to be angry and not accept it because they did the same thing for somebody else and they didn't mean it either. And I think you have to live, whether you lived experience shortly or as you age, you have to live through enough until you finally mean it. Because once you've had your own personal losses, then you're like, yes, I am sorry you're going through a loss because I went through it too, and it really sucks. Um, but we don't have that because we're removed from death. We take our dying to the hospital most of the time. We take our dying to the hospital, or they're removed from our house, and then they're taken to the hospital, which is just lovely. Been there, done that, have a shirt. And it's kind of traumatic, and it's like that private moment is being ripped away from you and being made public and being put on display so the doctors can, prod a corpse and go, yep, dead. No, really? I hadn't figured that out on my own. When a person stops breathing, they're not alive. Amazing. You went to college for that. Any, anyhow, we don't deal with death well. We don't deal with it with other people because we're frightened and we don't connect to our feelings very well, at least not in this country. And we don't deal with it in paganry and heathenry, especially because there's a very toxic Rosa True idea that we must be, tough. And, death is somehow glorious. Death is never glorious. It's horrible. I've been there more times than I care to admit. Not for a bad reason. And it's not glorious. It's not glorious. It's not awesome. It's terrible to watch a human die. And this is how I'm comforting you. And I think the takeaway for me from, losing Elizabeth after I've already lost my family is we don't have that connection. Everybody scatters to the four winds, or they say one line of text about it, and then that's it, right? We're done. We need to work on reconnecting to death, whether we work with Hel, or we work with Loki, or work with Odin, or Fenrir, or somebody, pick anybody, and start reconnecting to death. Start reconnecting to forever is a long time, and, I'm not going to sit here and pretend I absolutely know where we're going when we die. I don't, you know. If you're an honest pagan, you admit there's a 50% chance that the atheists are right. And I'm not saying that to make people scream and throw their keyboard. Either there's something after this life or there's not. We just don't know. We think there is. We hope there is. Some people are certain because they've had after death experiences, and some of us had experiences, but now that people are writing books that are trilogies at this point, we're like, well, I must have not had an after death experience after all, because I just saw this one thing and it lasted about 30 seconds. But we have to start reconnecting to death. We do. Not in a morbid way, not in a ghoulish way, not in a sad way, but reconnect to death as part of life. Pagans and heathens, I think, have forgotten how to do that. We've forgotten how to mourn. We've forgotten how to let ourselves cry publicly. We've forgotten how to mourn publicly. And sure, there are parts of your grief that can be private and should be private. That's true. But we've so distanced ourselves from death that we're coming up on the Halloween season that death really isn't even involved in Halloween anymore. The literal holiday of the dead returning to us, one of many around the world, and I think it's rather sad. So, take some time over the next couple weeks to do that ancestor work you've been meaning to do the work with Hel, or to do the work with Odin, or whatever underworld deity or that you work with. Take the time to understand it and be okay with it, and come to grips with, yes, you, I, and every other living thing on this planet is going to die at some point, and that's okay, because that is what happens. Take as much time as you need. If you need to find someone to talk to, please do. You're always welcome to come over and visit us on the Discord. Just ask me for the link, because by the time you guys get to the links, they're often inactive. And, take time to come to terms not only with the death of those you love, but, your own death as well. So if you guys like what you see, like, comment, subscribe, and we will see you later. Bye-bye. And of course, naturally, Loki helped.